Hey guys, what's up? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of ReZero Starting Life in Another World Season 2 on episode 41, or you could call it ReZero on Season 2 Part 2, which is on episode 3, Anyways, I had to rewatch this episode or just skim through it many times to get the understanding of the entirety of the full episode, and it took me a while, at first, because maybe because the first time I watched it, I only thought about how it went, and then I decided to go through it again little by little to try to understand what is truly going on and to get in-depth understanding, And yeah, a lot of people love this episode. I loved it too. I'm not gonna deny the fact that I almost teared up. Okay, I mean, as embarrassing as it is of me telling you that, hey, I ain't gonna be lying myself about that. All right. Anyways, like I said, this episode was really nice and slick, and it looks like it's really simple the way how if I'm gonna recap it, but I'm gonna do my best to go to some in-depth of what's going on, especially with Garfield himself. He was the big number one showcase throughout this entire episode. Those of you guys who are up to date with the light novels, or even up to date with the anime right now, such as watching this episode, you get the idea that this episode belonged to Garfield or Field alone. That aside, let's just get this started. The episode opens up with Garfield as a young child, and he ends up getting rescued by one of the Ryuzus or something, and later on he ends up having to bang his head on a stone pillar we get to know that he gave himself that X-shaped scar on his face, We don't really know the reason why about that though. By that time, we go back to present time, and after talking with Garfield, talking to freaking Subaru about the situation where he had some trouble with Otto, especially Ram herself. It got him really upset, and now he's telling Subaru and Amelia to get the hell out of the way because he's gonna destroy the sanctuary and it's gonna be over. But Subaru says, hey, if you destroy the entrance, especially this place, everything's gonna be sealed off for good. Is that what you want? And Garfield's like, yeah, that's what the hell I want. To hell with any other problems here and there. Amelia tries to stop him and tries to reason with him, about the situation, especially with his own past or his own problems, And by that time, we have to it that Garfield really is telling her to really shut up because this ain't your business whatsoever. And we have to it that Natsuki Subaru decides to come in and interfere and ask Garfield, hey, is it because your mother left your butt here in the sanctuary? At the sanctuary? This actually shocks the living hell out of Garfield to think that he knows that. And he goes and he ends up even digging into about him. Say, Frederica, your older sister, she actually believed that you'd be liberating the sanctuary, but you never did. All you ever did was sit here, and what she did is go outside the world and try to make a place outside in the world where people who are living in here, to go out there after they're done. Except you want to keep the sanctuary closed because you hate your mother, you don't like her, because after what she did to you, then is that it? And Garfield's like, no, that's not freaking it. And Subaru's like, then what is it? Tell me, I don't understand. I will not understand unless you say it to me, okay? So what's the deal? Do you hate her or something? Don't go taking it out on us, okay? So what the heck's the problem here? And Garfield's like, no, I never hated her, okay? I never actually even hated her, not even once. I wanted her to be happy, okay? I wanted her to be happy, as Garfield telling Subaru the truth, Even though I thought he might be a little tougher than that, telling him, get out of my way, man. I'm not going to tell you anything. And eventually, after, Subaru was, pestering him or, digging into his psyche, Garfield decides to let it out that he wanted his mother to be happy. But that's the reason why we were left behind, I never held anything against her, but after I found out the truth, my mother died in a landslide, She freaking, the moment after she left the sanctuary, she got annihilated or killed by a landslide. I wanted her to make me hate her to understand that, etc. And after Garfield letting everything out and being upset about talking about it and crying in front of him, because he doesn't want to talk about it because it's too painful. And we all have those moments, There are some things we don't want to talk about because it's too personal, or it's just brings up bad memories and it affects your psyche, your mentality, or your performance as a person or what you are today to present time, That kind of thing. Eventually, we have to it. Garfield is really sick and tired of this, and that he transforms into his big beast cat form, saying that things changing is not going to make everybody happy. I'm going to protect everything and everyone within my reach, etc., And he transforms into his big cat monster form, and Subaru decides, you know what, I'm really got to kick your butt in order for you to, make you realize something, about how numbers make a win against everybody else. By that time, we had to that Subaru charges at Garfield, but not before Emilia wants to interfere, But Subaru's like, hey, don't worry, Emilia, I got this, alright? And we have to that Subaru charges at Garfield, uses Shamak one last time, because it looks like to me he says thank you very much. And then he ends up using a crystal that he had with him that he was given to maybe by his big sister or Garfield's older sister. He stabs Garfield's arm with it, and Garfield goes back to his normal human form, And we have two goes like, what the hell did you just do? And he realizes that the crystal he has, the crystal right there, it pretty much shows about like what happened, about what it is, And it looks like to me we hear Puck's voice in there, and he says, that's all the help I can give you, alright? The rest is up to you. And Subaru's like, my gosh, you're so annoying, even you're still glowing, And we have to it that Subaru and Garfield still talk with each other, but Garfield suggests that this place doesn't need to change, and and we have to it that that Subaru tries to get Garfield to understand, don't freaking try to make this all, everything's not going to stay like this forever, right? You doing this and all that, there will be a time you're going to get cornered, etc., and you will get yourself grounded. That much is considered, but you end up being freaking like stubborn here and there, etc. There'll be times that you're going to be helpless and you won't be able to do anything. It can happen now, it can happen today, it can happen anytime soon in the future. So let me teach you just stand down, Garfield. Learn what strength and numbers supposed to really mean. And Garfield gets really upset and says there has to be another way how to word it for a better way for you to say that. And he punches Natsuki Subaru in the face, man. I'm thinking about my Subaru was a real man doing that, taking on that kind of punch to the face. Like, literally, from a guy that's like a half monster and half human, man, that's really gotta hurt, especially from a guy like him, Eventually, Subaru does lose a tooth, I'm like, okay, that's not coming back at all, man. That really must have really sucked to lose one freaking tooth, like a molar at least, whatever the case may be. And we have to it, Subaru tries to get him to understand that there is no wall, but Garfield's like, I'm the wall, etc. And we have to it, Garfield, on the other hand, is still going to continue, do what he's doing, and then Subaru's like telling Garfield, why don't you wake the hell up and don't give up on yourself, okay? If you want to change, start changing now. And this is your freaking starting line. Who's going to stop you for it? We have to it that Garfield is super annoyed with Subaru once again, decides to go after him in a freaking all out attack, And we have to it that Subaru ends up using a technique that belonged to freaking Beetlejuice or Betelgeuse, whatever that guy's name is, and that's using a shadow hand, one of the witch slot things that was hinted at maybe a long time ago whatsoever, that he uses against freaking Garfield and punches him in the air, but it looks like it took a big number of stamina out of Subaru since he's not used to it, or it's just a little it's something that he's not used to, By that time, Garfield still stands, and we have to it Subaru's like, what the hell are you, man? You're one tough nutcracker right here, man. Even right now, Garfield's like, as long as I don't break, I could still fight. And we have to it that he was about to land a freaking blow against Subaru, He's like, this is gonna be the end of it. You hear me? But all of a sudden, we see that Parachute or that Black Dragon ends up coming out of nowhere and fast speed and headbutts. He freaking body slams, uses his headbutt against Garfield and slams him to a wall that Garfield ends up flying to, It was so hilarious when I saw that. I had to rewatch that scene so many times over and over again. What's the deal? But it's because, the first part of Season 2 of ReZero, right? If you guys remember correctly, that Paratruce or that Black Dragon literally got freaking suplex slammed or just Yeah, I think suplex by Garfield, and it's like, this is payback, motherfucker. This is my payback for what you did to me. You hear me? Ha ha ha! And scream and ends up roaring in pride, saying, "I win! I win! I win!" And then we have two Subaru's like, "Say, strength in numbers. Do you think that's convincing?" And Garfield's like, "Again, I'm telling you again. Don't you have a better way of saying it? God dang it." And we have two. Subaru's like, "Okay, what about the bonds between me and my friends and the feelings of it, you know? That's how we did it." And we have two. Garfield's like, "Gosh, freaking hell. As you can say, nobody can lift a queen stone alone, even when you're super strong, huh?" And he ends up fainting out. And we have two. We got to see Subaru fainting out too, you know? And he ends up having to have a small Nemesis dream where, like, how he summons his, like, power, you know? We have to it that, like, he said he ends up talking about the power he had within him, and then how freaking Garfield's going, "Go!" and then punch! Falcon punch or shadow punch, you know? It was just hilarious. And we have to it that after Subaru wakes up, he was on the lap with Amelia, he was on the lap with Amelia, etc., and ends up greeted by her and says, "Hey, what's up?" You know, that kind of thing. And he calls his ability invisible prominence or something, or providence. He also sees Otto there, and he headbutts him in a way that implicitly scolds him by saying, "Yo, you almost got yourself killed. I thought you died, okay? Thank goodness you're freaking alive." And he thanks him for it, and the Black Dragon ends up having to hit Subaru for doing something reckless and got himself almost killed, you know, warning him, like, there won't be a next time again, alright? So watch yourself. So pretty much Otto and Black Parachutes was just scolding freaking Subaru for his own recklessness, but gives him props for actually doing the right thing, you know? But that aside, we have to it that Garfield has a small moment with Ram, and Ram after saying a couple things and insulting him for being stupid and losing, you know, she ends up telling him to, like, go to the trial and find out about yourself, okay? One more time. If you mess up, you end up being at the point of tears, I'll help you out as a friend, okay? That's it. That kind of thing. And, you know, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. Like I said, Ram said something to Garfield to, like, wake the hell up, stop being a freaking child or a coward right now. Go look at the trial, go look at the trial, and then face yourself, okay? That much I'm going to tell you. And we have to it that that Garfield ends up looking at his past, and he looked at something much more deeper than before, you know? And that is when, like, you know, when his mother was leaving and about to leave her two children behind, you know? That's Garfield and Frederica to Shima Ryuzu or Ryuzu-san, you know? That kind of thing. But we also get to know more about the situation. The reason why his mother left was to actually look for his father, his and Frederica's father. And we have to it that Garfield was actually shocked about that and realizes that his mother really loved him all along, and he actually knew too. The reason why he gave himself that X-shaped scar onto his head is because he wanted to forget the kiss that his mother gave him, you know? And we have to it that, like, he finally looks like he got some closure, but he doesn't know what to do. So he asks his his older sister what to do. She asks him, "What do you want to do?" "Do what I'm expected to do, blah, blah, blah." Sorry for saying that in a rude manner, you know? It's just like, took me a while to try to get the idea of what's going on in this episode, you know? After skimming, watching it, and rewatching some scenes, etc. Best episodes. Loving the episode, by the way. Love the episode, by the way, and repeating myself again. We had to it that eventually, Garfield finally gotten his closure and accepts what happened, you know? Eventually he comes out and apologizes to the Ryuzus and says, "Hey, sorry to get you guys worried, you know?" And Ram says, "Hey, how'd it go?" And Garfield's like, "Well, I didn't get much out of it, but I finally got some closure. So I'm fine. I'm okay with that." And therefore he talks to Subaru for a bit, and then, like, ends up having to thank him for, like, getting him out of the situation, you know, that kind of thing. And we have to it that, like, Garfield does freaking warn, like, Subaru, like, "Hey man, look, I may have lost or something, but I'm gonna tell you right now, like, if you freaking like you liberate this place and have everyone else like suffer very badly for it, I'm serious right now. I'm gonna whoop your butt and make you regret it. You hear me? So you better make sure you do it right, okay, boss? And he actually called him a boss. So I go like, wow, man. So after like him getting his butt handed, and not in a such a way when he's superhuman, and Subaru did have some help with the crystal and all that, and he had his last minute Black Rider Dragon come in, but hey, Subaru's a freaking regular human. Although he had some powers of his own, he's still regular human in a certain way. Let's not forget that, okay? I mean, he came from a different world compared to Garfield. He was naturally born gifted with half and half of what he is and the powers he's got, and magics. But that aside, we have to it that like that he was blushing, which is really cute, and I guarantee he'll kick my butt if he ever hears that. He ends up saying, if you liberate this place and the old hacks suffer for it, I am not going to go easy on you and I won't forgive you, okay? And Subaru's like, okay, fine. And we have to it that like Subaru is surprised that he called him boss, etc. And then he found out that Garfield's actually younger than him, He's only 14, and that's even more funny to Subaru because all this time, he was getting his butt handed by a 14-year-old. But let's not forget, Garfield's a freaking half human and half monster, okay? Okay, half monster is a little bit overboard, but half of a different kind of species whatsoever. So, that actually shocks Subaru a lot. So, he goes like, wow, man, I did not freaking realize that. And then we have to it that Amelia and Subaru have a little small moment with each other and talk with each other about the situation. And Subaru's like, hey, don't worry about it. And she talked about the kiss too. I'm thinking about okay, enough of that. Just go off, and etc. Pass your trial whatsoever. And we had to it that Subaru and Garfield has a moment too, and Garfield has to apologize about he actually eavesdropped and watched Garfield do something really embarrassing, Even Garfield's actually laughing about it so badly, and then Subaru's like, okay, just shut up about it, okay? You're a freak, stop pretending you're a kid. No, wait, you are a kid. What am I saying, That kind of thing, etc. And we had to, when Amelia entered the place where she's about to begin her trial, she ends up seeing the writings about Subaru and Puck, saying like, hey, we're going to be rooting for you, don't give up, you got this, go, go, go. And Amelia realizes that Subaru did all this just to get Amelia pumped up and say, you got this, don't give up, you got this, that kind of thing. Pretty much cheering her on the writings on the wall, on the graveyard. And we had two that Amelia's like, whatever, okay. And then she ends up seeing Echidna, and they end up having a small talk with each other, calling her a wit, and we have to it that Echidna calls her a witch whatsoever, etc. And Amelia ends up doing the same position and wordings what she got from Subaru. Says, my name is Amelia. I am a frozen witch born in the forest. I will not be dissed out by a witch's malice such as yours. And the episode ends off there. So far, I thought this episode right here was actually really nice. I mean, like I said, Garfield was the spotlight character in this episode, finally revealing what he is, and he couldn't get over his past about thinking his mother abandoned him just to find happiness. But that wasn't really the case when it came to that. Of course, Subaru and Garfield did have a fight with each other, except I was told that in terms of the detailed situation of the light novels, it was a little bit more expanded, compared to the anime format. It looks like it was just a little short here and there, which I can understand why. I mean, they got to fit in the time schedule for it to work out, But, that aside, another episode with no opening, which is fine. I mean, like, if we get these kinds of nice detailed work from White Fox, and I do know, we all know White Fox very well, man. I mean, like, we all know they do a lot of crazy hard work in their stuff, I mean, like, think about those times with Utawari Romano, and then like what else? I think Steins Gate. Yeah, they did their work with Steins Gate, and then everything else all considered. And now ReZero's being their number one hyped up series of being superbly done well kind of thing. So yeah, pretty much overall without a lot of detail. I'm sorry for making a very long recap, such as the episode itself. Subaru and Garfield end up confronting each other. Subaru manages to overpower Garfield in the end, but not too much to a point that he actually 100% defeated him. He just had some help along the way to try to fight Garfield on equal grounds, while Garfield's like not even fully 100% human. Let's not forget that. But Subaru did lose a tooth, so that's not coming back at all. That's for sure. I mean, we all know how the human teeth works. Let's not forget that. And let's see here. Subaru's new power, invisible providence or providence whatsoever. And then, Garfield faces his past, finds some closure, and then he finally gives respect to Subaru and calls him a boss. And then they end up having some funny moments with each other, And Amelia getting ready to take on her trial once more. So, yeah. Looking forward to next episode. So far, looking good so far. Nothing very havoc to a point that it's going to be immense pain and misery, that kind of thing. And, yeah. Garfield, or Garfield if anything, Garfield. You cool, man. You very cool. And Subaru, well done, man. You gotten some help not to do this all by yourself. Thank all life given to us, even though you tried doing it multiple times, but that kind of thing. Anyways, looking forward to next episode, and better hope things get better for him on the road. Who knows? So, until then, peeps, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day. And I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot.